Hey guys, Chris Stevens again at Auction Bandits for another profit profile. This one concerning takedown recurve bows. Now, you should know that there are countless archery fanatics out there on eBay, and they're after all kinds of stuff related to archery. In this short video here, I don't want to go into everything about archery because it's an immensely huge field. What I want to touch on here is a couple terms you're going to, well, come into contact with. Called the ILF and the AMO. Okay, what we have here before us is a Hoyt Avalon riser, and it has several sets of detachable limbs. Now, a bow has a lot of parts to it, but the couple that you should know about are the riser and the limbs. The limbs are the parts, like this right here, that actually bend when the strings pull back. The riser is the part that stays stationary. Now, in the case of one-piece bow, obviously there's no clear delineation, but this bow right here is what they call a takedown. In other words, the limbs come off of it, and they're not uncommon, and you'll see them out there. Now, this bow, it takes a type of a limb called ILF, International Limb Fixture, and this bow, well, actually the riser and the limbs are made by Hoyt, and the ILF was started by a guy named Earl Hoyt Jr. in an attempt to standardize. He wanted to standardize a way where you could have a riser and then you could have limbs. And if they complied to ILF standards, well, as far as physical standards, any ILF limb would fit any ILF standard, or riser. So let's say that I have an ILF riser, like this Hoyt Avalon, and I wanted to get some limbs for it. I could get any set of limbs that I wanted as far as the poundage and the length. And as long as they were ILF compliant, I know they'd fit my bow, and I know they'd fit my riser. Essentially, you just plug them in. And the other one, that one plugs right in too. And now you have a bow, a recurve bow. Now these risers, the limbs, when you look at one of these limbs, and you're going to see it also on recurve bows that are one piece, you're going to see things like AMO, you're going to see things like 70, 68, 34, and 36. You're going to see all kinds of different numbers. AMO stands for Archery Manufacturers Association. This is just a standard set down where a bunch of guys got together and they said, look, man, we've got these bows and we've got all these guys that need strings for them, but a guy goes in and tried to get a string for his bow and it's too short or it's too long. So what they did is they standardized a lot of the stuff. So let's say that I have a 55-inch or a 56-inch bow. I can order a 55 or 56-inch string and I know it'll fit. All that is a standard set down to kind of standardize things. Well, okay. Anyway, another standard of the AMO is the 28-inch pull. In other words, every bow has a certain draw weight. In other words, this one here has 38 pounds or 40 pounds and we'll get into the difference here in a second. But at 28-inch pull, in other words, you pull the string back 28 inches, and that's how much pound it's going to have is against the arrow. And if it weren't standardized, I mean, you could say, well, you know, I got a 4-foot arrow in here, I'll just pull this thing back and I'll get 100 pounds of pull. It always varies on the bow how much pressure is on the arrow. I mean, when you start to pull back, there's not much pressure on it. So you have to have some standard length where you can say, okay, this is how much pressure this bow generates on the arrow. In order to do that, you have to know how far you're pulling it back. So they set that at 28 inches. Now, the risers. These risers come in 23 and 25 inches. This one here is 25 inches. That's why if you look on here, you'll see 70 and 68. With a 25-inch riser, you're going to have 70-inch length. With a 23-inch riser, obviously you're going to have 68 inches. Now, if you have a 25-inch riser, you're going to have 38 pounds of tension at 28-inch pull. And if you have a 23-inch riser, giving you a 68-inch bow, you're going to have 40 pounds of pull at 28 inches. So the shorter the riser, you got more tension because the riser is shorter and it produces more stress on the limbs. Now, if I look at these, well, these particular two right here, they have different serial numbers, but when you find the limbs, ideally they should be in pairs, and they're going to have the same serial number. 60202. So you have 45 pounds, or I'm not sure what the 45 is on there, but bottom and top, and these risers, you can, or I keep calling them risers, these limbs, you sell them separately, or you can sell them with the riser. It doesn't really matter. I have an older Yamaha FX bow with about 15 sets of limbs, and I'm selling it on eBay as a set simply because it's not ILF. In other words, those limbs are intrinsic to that riser. So probably the guy who orders that riser is going to want all those limbs to go with it. But in the case of this bow right here, I can sell all of these. I can sell these pairs separately. I can sell the riser separately, because it's almost like a universal thing. Somebody who has an ILF riser can just buy these limbs and plug them right in and go shooting. So there you have it. ILF, International Limb Fixture, and AMO, Archery Manufacturers Association. I talk more about this at my website, auctionbandits.com, in the gallery. Just look up any of the bows that I have relating to archery, and I give a pretty good rundown about the different kind of bows, the long bow, the recurve bow, which is what this one is, and the compound bow. So check it out. Alright, until next time, Chris Stevens, Auction Bandits. Thanks for watching.